Hey, Don, how are you? Good? Good. I think we're ready to get started. Okay. You guys ready? Okay, welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of Brownsville Public Utilities Board to order. We do have a quorum. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor and protect the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Just following the agenda here, item number D, workshop or public hearings. I don't believe we have none. And then public comments. Any public comments today?
No public comments.
Oh, very good. So we'll go ahead and move to item number 7, consent agenda items. We have 9 items for consideration. Does anyone have any question on any of the items?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And we'll go to item G, items for individual consideration. Number 1, General Manager's Report. Marilyn?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. And at the moment right now, we have the board calendar in front of you. There are several different items that we have. We have on August 3rd scheduled SRWA board meeting. We also have the next board meeting on August 10th, followed by the SRWA board meeting in September on the 14th, and as well as a PUB board meeting. I'm not going to go through all the other events that are on there. Some of us attended the APPA National Conference. Thank you all for making the time and accommodations for doing that. Dr. Zamora at this time is at the PCM APPA fly-in in Washington, D.C., and there will be a TPPA annual conference that some of you will be attending on there. With that, any other questions on any of the other items that are there?
Nope.
Nope.
Questions?
PEB holidays, upcoming holidays is September 7th for the Labor Day holiday. And at that point, that concludes the industry updates, and we'll provide you a little bit more information after Dr. Zamora gets back on the activities from DC.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Very good. Thank you, Marilyn. Item number 2, consideration and action on items pulled out of consent. There were none. Item number 3, staff reports and presentation of the board. A, presentation discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board's financial performance report for the period ending May 31st, 2026. David?
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Villarreal and members of the board. I'm David Medrano, and I serve as Director of Finance for VPUB, and I'll be presenting a high-level overview of financial performance for fiscal 26 through the period ending May 31st. So this first slide, your second slide, is an executive summary dashboard of 7 financial categories, each with its own gauge, with red signifying an opportunity for improvement in that particular category. Green is representing an area or category that meets or exceeds expected performance. And yellow is an area that we continue to closely monitor through the end of the fiscal year. The first category is the flow of funds. Adjusted gross revenue came in lower due to a lower FPEC rate. Year to date, $3.229 million has been generated to replenish the improvement fund. Additionally, debt service coverage ratio is at 1.89 times, which is well above the 1.25 times minimum that is required. A little bit more detail is outlined on slide 4, which I'll be going over shortly. The next category is the fuel and purchased energy charge, or FPEC, which has generated an over-recovery of $19.64 million as of May 31st, and is currently being used and will continue to be used to offset future market uncertainty. Through May, the FPEC rate was 3.476 cents per kilowatt hour. For June, it was 3.65 cents per kilowatt hour. We started the fiscal year with a balance of about $25 million over collection, and have drawn down about $5 million through the end of May. which has served to buffer any bill increases to the customer. The next category is the City of Brownsville cash transfer, which is higher than budgeted due to a lower FPEC rate and a lower than budgeted City of Brownsville usage. And these are noted on line 21 of slides 22 and 23 of your package. The next category is personnel and non-personnel expenses, which are also noted in detail on slide 15 and 16 of your package. Those expenses came in lower than budgeted, primarily due to current vacancies and timing issues. The next category is the BPB's average bill, which continues to be lower than both the average MOU bill and the average IOU bill. During May, the average bill for BPB customers was $95.83, and this compares to $123.13 for the average municipally owned utility, and $141.83 for the average investor-owned utility. The FPEC overcollection has helped moderate the bill and will continue to do so until cumulative drawdowns extinguish the FPEC balance. Next, we have the capital improvement plan. Year-to-date actuals and committed total $36.7 million and $28.6 million. Respectively, which represent 72.8% of the fiscal year 2026 approved budget. And these are noted in columns F and I of your slide 9. Next, all key financial metrics are currently in compliance, and these are noted on slide 11. Just to recap, the debt service coverage ratio is 1.89 times. Days cash on hand is 396 days. Debt to capitalization, 38%. We've got great bond ratings, Moody's A2, Fitch A, S&P A-, and all the reserves are fully funded, including the capital improvement fund, the debt service reserves, and operating cash reserves. This next slide is the statement of revenues and expenses and changes in net position. It compares year-to-date through May 25 to year-to-date through May 26. But for purposes of today's presentation, I'll just go through May 26. And this is prepared in accordance with GAAP, or generally accepted accounting principles. The first line is operating revenues. These are detailed on slide 15 as line items 1 to 5 for those who want to know what makes up those revenues. Those came in at $141,099,073. Less operating expenses of $124,565,072 resulted in operating income of $16,534,001. From that, we reduced it by net operating expenses of $11,606,703, resulting in income before capital contributions of $4.927, $298. To that, we add capital contributions to date of $15,353,985 to get a change in net position through May 31st of $20,281,283. To that, we add the net position at the beginning of the year of $510,826,000 to come up with a net position at the end of May of $531,107,824. The next slide is the summary of revenues and expenses, or what we refer to as the flow of funds. This report has been prepared in accordance with our bond ordinance. The first line on here is operating revenues. And is loaded in additional detail on slide 15 of your presentation. It compares the year-to-date budget to actual. For purposes of today's presentation, I'll just go over the actual. Year-to-date, we're at $133,114,925 compared to a budget of $164 million. So there is a little bit of a difference there. But I think the good news is that we've collected about 81% of the revenues that we were expecting. We've looked back at the last 5 years, and this is within the range of where we are 8 months into the fiscal year. The average of those 3 years is about 85, 86%, so we're slightly below that. But the good news is the way that we look at revenues and expenses for budget purposes is we do a straight line, which means that we add to each successive month the revenues and expenses for that particular month. And that is not necessarily how our business operates. It operates on a much more seasonal and weather-driven pattern. So the revenues, we are pretty confident that by the end of the year, we will be pretty darn close to the base rates that we were budgeting. And we're forecasting that the debt service coverage ratio, even though it's a little bit lower, below 2, we expect that to be above 2 by the end of this fiscal year. So getting back to the slide, we add to the operating revenues, other revenues of $16.9 million or $16.3 million to come up with gross revenues of $149,505,357. To that, we subtract fuel and SRWA. The fuel component was $36.1 million, and the rest was SRWA, which is $4.6 million. $40,692,770 to come up with adjusted gross revenues of $108,812,587. From that, we deduct other O&M, non-operating expenses, and debt service requirements of $91,051,302 to come up with a balance available after requirements of $17,761,285. We also deduct the COB usage, and here you can see that there was less City of Brownsville utility usage than we had budgeted, which helped increase the City of Brownsville cash transfer in the amount of $8,003,586 to come up with a balance available for internal transfers of $6.88 million. To that, we deduct the internal transfers that have taken place to date of $3,650,000 to come up with an improvement fund replenishment year to date of $3,229,245. That concludes my presentation. If there are any questions that you may have.
I just wanted to say thank you for that sidebar note. I was wondering all those things.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Well timed.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item, quarterly report on GMCO procurement authorizations.
Good afternoon, Chair. Diane Solitaire. I'm going to give you the quarterly report on the GM procurement authorizations for the second quarter, April through June of '26. The purchases for, or the approvals for the Water Wastewater Administration totaled $699,737.01. And the electric was $208,335. The majority of them either were current contracts or sole source or just engineering services. So the grand total for the Water Wastewater Administration and electric was $908,072.01. Do you have any questions?
Questions? Questions?
Okay,
Thank you. Okay, item number C, presentation of the new BPUB website redesign.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Miguel Callas. I'm the Digital Information Platforms Manager with Brownsville Public Utilities Board. And today I will be talking about updates to our current BPB website. We're looking to modernize and update, align it with our brand, continuing to make it more user-friendly for the community. This does align with our strategic plan, specifically with technology modernization, improving customer experience, affordability, and community engagement. So looking at the current website at a glance, just to give you a little bit of background, the current website was launched in 2018. It's about 8 years ago. Our department has received ongoing feedback in the most recent years related to the site's usability, searchability, and other feedback that we've taken into account over the years. With that said, this project aims to address that feedback. Currently, we are paying about $9,500 on hosting fees for our current setup. That includes the content management system, WordPress, and the hosting provider, WP Engine.
Is that annual or monthly?
Annual, sorry, yes, annual cost. So the current website and its current status today focuses on three main pillars: customer actions. So basically, anything that a customer does related to paying their bill, managing their account, reporting a service issue. Those are all third-party providers that we link out. So they're outbound linked to third-party providers. We also have various informational content related to rates, conservation, drought restrictions, anything that the utility does within the three scopes of the utility. We have a lot of information on there as well. In relation to public information, obviously our scheduled board meetings and news archives, press releases are also available on the website. So some of the current challenges, as I mentioned, the current hosting costs are rather high for a website of this manner. Our website is really designed as an informational website, so the overhead that we are currently using for WordPress and the database management, all of that has added a lot of strain, obviously, maintenance costs and staff time to address security patches and updates, and constantly having to do that on a continual basis to keep the website running optimally. So additionally, over the years, with all the content that we've produced, the website has become a little bloated. And we've also noticed that, heard some feedback about the searchability of the site is rather limited. So addressing all those challenges is key for us, and that's where the new redesign comes in. So the current website, the new website is built on a modern development framework that uses reusable components to keep the website maintainable and having it easier to maintain. We are moving away from WP Engine to a new hosting provider called Cloudflare Pages. They're one of the leading content delivery networks in the industry and provide very robust hosting capabilities, especially for sites that are flat file design. So just to give you a little background, I mentioned the website is currently using a database server to maintain all that content. We're moving away from that, and we're going to a flat file system. So everything is going to be generated on Edge, meaning when the customer hits the website, they will get that content rather quickly, and there won't be a lot of overhead in terms of hitting the database server, generating the content, and bring it back to the customer. We still maintain a lot of the integrations. In fact, we can do a lot more integrations now because we have a rather robust API capability to integrate with other systems. So the new website, we took a very hard look at the way our current website was currently managed and organized. And we did a thorough review of the content, the menus, and aligned that with various ways that customers can find that a lot easier. This is just a quick preview of what the new website will look like. As you can see, it's a lot more modern, aligned with our branding. We also have a contextualized mega menu that really leads customers into various sections of the website. And then we also have leading our three utility content. So we've broken it up into logical sections that customers can easily get to, our current news and meeting information, as well as various leading content areas that will provide easier access to different content on the website. I should note too that the website is mobile friendly, so it's optimized for mobile and tablets, and that'll make it a lot easier for customers to navigate as well. So one of the biggest issues that we've addressed with the new website is the searchability. We are using a very robust intelligent search that will index every piece of content on the website. So things like documents, meetings, all the different content pages that we have are all indexed, and they're actually searchable and categorized within this intelligent search feature that we've implemented. So it'll be a lot easier. It's a big improvement from the current setup that we have right now. So just really quickly looking at the cost comparison, just bottom line.
Quick question, sorry.
yes, go ahead.
Will old bookmarks work?
Yes, we're obviously with the, and I'll touch on that in a little bit.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but just to answer your question, we are looking at a migration redirects. So all the redirects that we have, we are going to be managing those on the website as well. Bottom line here, our current setup right now over a 5-year period, it costs us about $47,000. Obviously, if we had outsourced this to an outside vendor, you're looking at a much higher price just because they are providing their time, proprietary software in many cases, and then they also charge an ongoing cost for maintenance and security patches and support. So with the current setup that we have now, moving to the flat file design and Cloudflare, we're looking at about $2,500 annually. And so that's a conservative outlook right now because Cloudflare provides a free tiered, and so incrementally as your traffic and build time increases, your costs will increase as well. But so that's why we have budgeted the roughly about $500 annually. Sorry, I misspoke. $500 annually for any overhead that we may incur past the free tiered right now. So our current launch plan, we've already completed the migration. That is completely migrated to the new site. Again, we vetted the content. We've gone through various stakeholder meetings with our internal departments. We did share this information also with our PubCat members. We did not receive any feedback. And so right now we're at the final stretch. We're doing a final review, incorporating any last minute revisions that need to be addressed, and hopefully have this launched by the end of July. Any questions at this time?
How friendly is for all folks, all people?
So we are addressing accessibility. That was one of the things that we looked at. And I think that you'll find with the new website, the search feature is going to be very helpful. Again, we're using very bold, big text. Also, we did a lot of review of the content. So currently on our website, you see long blocks of text, and it's not really optimized for web, readability. So that was one of the things that we did as well.
Okay. Good.
Any other questions?
Everybody good? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item, D, drought update.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jaime Flores. I'm the Water Resources Administrator, and I'll be providing you with a drought update. U.S. combined ownership at Amistad and Falcon reservoirs as of July 4th, 2026 stood at 27.8%. U.S. combined ownership for the last several weeks, June 13th, 26.5%, June 20th, 27.5%, June 27th, 27.8%. The National Weather Service July through September outlook for the Lower Rio Grande Valley, Deep South Texas region. A hotter than normal outlook is anticipated through the July through September 2026 period. Additionally, a drier than normal pattern across the region during the same period. While mainly dry conditions are expected to prevail July through August, a wetter, non-tropical showers and thunderstorms pattern could emerge mid to late September and October, given the moderate to strong El Nino in place. The Falcon International Reservoir received a slight boost in late June, but remained very low. The Falcon Reservoir remained near historic seasonal lows at the end of May and June. Confidence remains near certain, 100%, on total reservoir storage remaining just above record lows through September. And despite a drier than normal pattern favored Occasional sea breeze convection is possible during the July through September period. This concludes my presentation at this time. Do you have any questions?
Questions? Did you change the colors on the graph?
No.
Okay.
We did not change that.
The SRWA ones were blue, I remember that, but, okay, just curious.
Don't change the colors, okay?
I've been
Gonna
getting
confuse
that at
them.
staff
You're gonna
because you
confuse
have
them.
blue and then slightly different blue, and it's hard to tell the difference, but yeah, just
Okay,
curious.
thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, item E, Gladys Porter Zoo meeting update.
First of all, I want to thank you all for those board members that attended the meeting with the zoo. And this is to provide the update for the full board, and Mrs. Sebastian will be able to, Allison will be providing that information.
Yes, I'm Allison Bastian Rodriguez, and I am Associate General Counsel for PUB. Board members, Vice Chair. So, yes, as Marilyn mentioned, we had a meeting on July 2nd of this year where a couple of directors, Director Holman, Director Sarkis, as well as some of executive management, we met with the zoo director, Birchfield, and the deputy director, Adams, to discuss the zoo's request involving the transfer of about 1.2 acres of adjacent land to the 6th Street substation. The site is actually on the former Resaca dredging dewatering site. Besides the transfer of property, the zoo, of course, has requested that PUB undertake certain construction and other activities, but what this presentation is just going to focus on is we communicated with the zoo. They came to the annex building and sat down and met with us for a while, and then we went to a little site visit, which was really helpful because there's nothing like being on site and seeing exactly what it is you're working with. So, as I mentioned, their intent is to institute a project that has to do with educational, ecological, community engagement, and also to have the ability to take buses through the site from 6th Street and exit off of Old Alice. And I know I mentioned the construction requests a minute ago. One would be a horizontal retainment structure for Resaca habitat. The other would be a privacy structure like fencing around the substation and lift station on the premises. So, of course, this is an aerial map, an overview showing the various ownerships of certain tracts in the area. Of course, the zoo is to the upper right of your screen of this image. And then we have various lots that are either owned by the PUB. We also have some that are privately owned. And it looks like there are some that were conveyed to some predecessors, the Brownsville Sewerage Company, which should impart to the PUB. The blue area, it doesn't look real blue here, but I promise it's blue. In the middle is kind of the 1.2 acre area, which they would be interested in the PUB transferring for their use. Let's see. So for those of us who were not on site, we took a few pictures, and all this is to show and get a better idea, feet on the ground, what it is exactly that would be involved, or what would be subject to either moving or staying in place, depending on the extent of the project. Here you can see, looking through the gate, this is off the entrance from 6th Street going into the PUB property, looking roughly southwest toward Old Alice. And you can see there's some equipment, obviously, some lines overhead, and the Resaca embankment is there to the right. And this is from the same perspective, just on the other side of the fence, actually inside of the property. There's Director Sarkis. And again, you can see some of the equipment, some of the facilities, and there are quite a few power lines overhead as well. That is an image of the Resaca Bank, again, looking toward Old Alice, toward the south. Standing in the same spot, turning around, looking northeast toward the community center or the educational center at the zoo. This is what we have. Again, plenty of lines, plenty of equipment and infrastructure. That is looking down at the Resaca itself, and you can see the embankment with the growth and the erosion. It's not terribly stable right there. And then turning around back to the Resaca, literally, physically, my back to the Resaca, looking toward the equipment that is on site. That's just another image showing the extent of what is actually on the property. And then this is a view from 6th Street. The image to the left is a view from 6th Street looking into the drive, which goes into the site, past the substation, through the PUB property, over to where the gate is from the first image I showed you. And then the building in the middle is the Discovery Center. And then this is the entrance off of Old Alice, and this is where the buses ideally would come out of, starting in the 6th Street exit and then coming out here at Old Alice. In case this was mentioned, I've included this older image. This shows the property and the neighboring properties from 1962. The old B-Pub water tank, which has since been demolished. You can see that. There are some outlines there of some of the properties which are now developed. And of course, the Resaca and what became the site of the zoo is in that image. Just in case it came up for discussion, because it has before, and so I included it. Potential costs. So one of the things we talked about, and again, this was just kind of an exchange of information, hearing what the zoo is requesting and conveying to them and showing them what we have on the ground and what costs may be incurred in order to fully realize what their plan is for their proposed project. Overhead transmission relocation comes to approximately, and these are very preliminary estimates, we're looking at about $368,000 más o menos. You have various distribution lines that are overhead and underground, and we don't quite have those estimates yet. To underground the transmission lines has never been done. However, a very rough estimate for right now is that it would be 2 to 3 more times expensive than to construct than to move overhead lines. So we're looking at about $1.2 million there. I think there may be an estimate on the fencing, which would come to about $500,000. I don't have that represented on this slide. And then, of course, the substation itself, to replace it, is estimated to cost about $15 to $20 million. So really, this meeting just served to facilitate discussion on basically the project, communicate with the zoo, again, hear what they want, convey to them what it would entail to realize their project, and enable the parties to just connect. And the purpose of this item is just to update you and let you know the meeting took place and the extent of what we covered. And that's it.
So, as one of the board members that was there, I'll just add a little bit of color. Yeah, so we walked the property with the zoo. We made it clear that, moving the transmission lines would be a significant expense. Relocating any of our equipment would be a significant expense. So we did talk to them about the possibility of using, the land basically between the transmission lines and the Resaca. It's a much smaller part than they were looking for, but we discussed the possibility of trying to build a boardwalk there or something else. They seem to be interested in the idea, but, yeah, it was kind of an initial discussion. I don't know, Martine, did I miss anything?
Nope, perfectly fine.
So.
So is there a follow-up meeting plan, or?
Not at this time. This is only for informational purposes, but down the road or as management would like.
He has requested a follow-up meeting, so he does want to meet that. We did have a meeting scheduled also with the city manager before the meeting. He wasn't able to attend, so I would like, to also brief the city, so that way we're all on the same page. In talking with the board members who were present, they wanted for us, all of us to be present, on the same page on their conversations, so we can do that. So I just wanted to give you that we do have that, and that's information that maybe Allison was not aware of that communication to my office.
Yeah, there's another meeting in the works, so we'll keep you informed. But did they request for us to move the substation, the electrical substation?
They did not.
Okay.
I think what the reason behind that was just to explore, okay, what would it take possibly for a minimal adjustment on the site? What would what would the most expensive case scenario, I suppose, be? Maybe I'm missing something here.
Right. On that, and the reason that was there was because the additional land that is adjacent to the substation is for expansions, of the substation. If you're aware, the city of Brownsville is experiencing a lot of growth. There's a lot of repowering. A lot of the buildings in the downtown area, are now being repowered and had minimal lights before, security lights, and that was it. One bathroom at the most, or things of that nature. And now with all the new growth, that substation is a substation that feeds major hospitals, that feeds other different areas. I don't want to get into the details without releasing anything, but that for us, it services a lot of customers.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, item number 4, consideration and possible action on a resolution recommending the elimination of the Resaca fee.
Okay, board members, Vice Chair. So this item is to come back to the subject of the Resaca fee. Of course, on May 11th of this year, a resolution came before the board providing for the recommendation of the board to either eliminate or reduce the Resaca fee. Of course, this is because the City of Brownsville City Charter requires that the board periodically review the rates and fees, charges, and that the board bring recommendations to the City Commission. So without there was a lot of history behind that. But what happened on May 11th is that the option was brought to this board to either reduce or eliminate the Resaca fee. Arising out of that meeting, the board passed a resolution recommending to the City Commission that the Resaca fee be reduced to $2. So on June 16th of 2026, some members of executive management, a couple of directors, went to the City of Brownsville City Commission meeting to bring a presentation and report, as well as this May 11th recommendation for the first public hearing for the city to amend their ordinances as it relates to the Resaca fee. And so what we did is, of course, we provided the ordinance to reduce it, and then, of course, an alternative to eliminate the Resaca fee was also presented. So there was a comprehensive history given to the City Commission, and a lot of discussions ensued regarding the past meetings, how much money is in the Resaca fund, how long we have to use it, how long until it runs out, what projects are still subject to it. And after a whole lot of discussion and holding the public hearing, the city opted to go ahead and remove the Resaca fee on the first public hearing of ordinance number 2026-1808 to amend the Code of Ordinances to provide for the elimination of the Resaca fee. So following the discussions and the presentation at that meeting and following the public hearing, what we're doing here is we're bringing this resolution back to you to recommend the elimination of the Resaca fee and, by extension, the repeal of the resolution presented on the May 11th meeting, which was 26004. We have prepared the necessary ordinances, or ordinance rather, for the City Commission to consider and pass. And if you approve this resolution before you today, it will go before the City Commission on, I think, July 21st for the second reading of the ordinance to repeal the Resaca fee.
Okay. Questions?
So I mean, I said this last meeting, but my fear here is if we repeal this completely, which, yeah, it seems like that's the way things are going to go, that when we reintroduce the Resaca costs, the costs of maintaining it as our pipes, not, you know, anything else, we're going to see the water fees rates, the water rates spike up to cover that, which would be, you know, about $2.25, I think, something like that. And so, yeah, that's just something we got to be prepared for, is when we go back to the City Commission, we're going to ask for a huge rate hike then.
Yeah, I think at this stage it's about being transparent and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and just getting residents, they'll hopefully understand why we're doing it, and that this fee will be absorbed into the water rates at some point.
Sure. Any other questions? No. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item number 5.
Mr. Chair, before we proceed on this, I just wanted to give a little bit of information for item number 5, 6, and 7. I know we have some items that are coming into closed session. 5, 6, and 7 are administrative in nature for the Texas Water Development Board.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and hear all of the presentation, or if you would like, we can just read each one of them and hear the recommended action to save some time.
Okay, well,
It's up to you all.
It's up to what the board, I think we should just do them all at one time, and they're just grants that we're going to
Yeah.
authorize,
Yes.
and then we don't even know if we're going to get the grant. There's other work. This is just the first step in the process. So
Yes.
unless anybody objects, can we just go ahead and do them all at once? And I understand the presentation, but I don't really think that's necessary, unless somebody wants to hear it, to respect to staff. And I know that I read it, makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. I'm glad that we're doing this. So is that okay?
As a presiding officer, you can pull
Okay.
up the 3 items at the same time
Okay.
and
So
get a full report.
what I'd like to do, let me read these items. I'd like for us to consider them at one time,
Mhm.
okay? Item number 5, consideration of possible action to approve and authorize a resolution to enter into a grant agreement with the Texas Water Development Board for the Blanco Morales Reservoir Surplus Water Impound Project. Item number 6, consideration and possible action to approve and authorize a resolution to enter into a grant agreement with the Texas Water Development Board for the indirect potable reuse project. Item number 7, consideration and possible action to approve and authorize submission of an application requiring resolutions for financial assistance to the Texas Water Development Board for the indirect portable reuse project. Is there a motion to approve these items?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. At this time, we want to,
Oh, we have one.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'm sorry, can I just clarify that the first 2 are for already grant agreements, and the last one is just for an application?
sure. Yes,
Okay, yes.
thank you for
For
that.
the record. Thank you.
Then item number 8, recess to close meeting. Recess to close meeting to consider actions pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551. At this time, the items on the agenda as designated for closed meeting will be considered. If there is an approved motion to go into closed meeting, the listeners will be placed on hold until the board returns to open meeting. Item number 1, meeting with the board legal counsel for advice about contemplated and pending court administrative litigation on the matters in which the duty of the attorney under Texas disciplinary rules and professional conduct conflicts with Chapter 551, including but not limited to any items moved to closed session and the following. A, reports of local and special counsel, including regarding potential or pending litigation involving PUB, including litigation brought by Bay Runner Pipeline LLC. Item number B, city PUB-related matters, including Resaca fee resolution ordinance. Item number 2, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation of information upon pricing of purchase power generation in the field and their impact upon the fuel purchase, energy, and marketing charge. Item number 3, presentation, discussion relating to large-scale business development opportunities pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551. Do I have a motion to recess into closed meeting?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to recess into closed meeting.
We're staying.
Okay. Okay, it is 6:48, and we are going back into open session. There was no action taken in executive session. Do we have any items that anyone's put on future agenda? None? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.